Let's talk about that feeling, that universal modern problem of being completely overwhelmed by information. But we're not just going to talk about the problem today. No, we're here to unlock a fundamental shift in how you think. We're going to explore how to move from just managing information to actively compounding it into something I like to call recursive intelligence.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? It feels like you've got way too many tabs open in your mind. There's this constant, low-level buzz of things you think you're forgetting. You feel like you're absorbing endless data, but gaining very little actual wisdom. Well, if that sounds familiar, I want you to know something really important. It's not your fault.
See, that feeling of being overwhelmed, it's not a weakness. It's a hardwired feature of our biology. Our working memory, that's the cognitive workspace where all our conscious thinking happens, it's actually incredibly small. You can think of it like a biological bottleneck. It's a hard limit that no amount of willpower or trendy productivity hacks can ever really widen.
So, how small are we talking? Well, you can forget that old idea of 7 plus or minus 2. Modern cognitive science tells us our brain can only actively juggle about 3 to 5 distinct ideas or pieces of information at any one time. That's it, 3 to 5. Any project, any strategy that demands more than that, well, it pretty much crashes our mental operating system.
And what's eating up all that precious mental RAM? Well, there's a name for it, the Zeigarnik effect. Every single uncaptured idea, every unfinished task, every open loop in your mind creates this state of cognitive tension. It's like a background process that's always running, draining your mental energy and creating that familiar hum of anxiety.
So I really want you to hear this. Let this sink in for a moment. You aren't broken. You don't lack discipline. Your hard drive is just full. This isn't some personal failing, it's the universal human condition in an age of infinite information. And that realization leads us to a really profound insight. If we're all running on basically the same biological hardware, how on earth did some of history's greatest innovators think so deeply and create so much? The answer is, it wasn't a better brain. It was a better system for using that brain. They learned how to think with tools, outside of their own heads. And this practice has a long, brilliant history. You've got Leonardo da Vinci in the 1500s with his chaotic notebooks, cross-pollinating ideas between art and anatomy. Then John Locke in the 1600s creating index commonplace books to retrieve his arguments systematically. By the 1800s, Thomas Edison was industrializing innovation with over 3,500 notebooks. And in the 20th century, the sociologist Niklas Luhmann built his famous Zettelkasten, a slipbox he actually called his communication partner.
Every one of these was a system for offloading thought. But today, we have the ability to take this timeless principle to a completely new level. The modern epiphany isn't just about storing things anymore. It's about creating a recursive loop. And that, right there, is a genuine superpower for your mind.
So what is this loop? It's a fundamental shift in the very geometry of our thought process. For decades, our digital tools have forced us down a linear path. You get some information, and it gets tossed into an archive. A digital graveyard, really. The breakthrough is to make this process circular. Input leads to synthesis, and then that synthesis becomes a brand new input, creating a self-reinforcing loop of intelligence. Okay, let's make this really concrete. Here's how this works in practice, say with a tool like NotebookLM. Step 1, you upload a raw source, maybe a messy transcript from a meeting. Step 2, you ask an AI to synthesize it, to pull out the key strategic risks. But here's the magic. Step 3, you convert that AI-generated note into a brand new, solid source. And now step 4, the recursion. You can query your next project plan against your own summarized wisdom, asking, hey, how does this new plan address the key risks we've already identified?
When you start working this way, your entire relationship with information begins to change. You stop being a passive note-taker and you become an active knowledge architect. You literally start to engineer your reality. Think about personal growth. The old way is maybe journaling about the same anxieties over and over. You might get some temporary relief, but nothing fundamentally changes. The innovative path, you synthesize those journal entries into what you could call a psychological profile source. Then you can ask it to review your plan for the week and predict where you're likely to stumble before it happens. You're not just reflecting anymore, you are engineering your own evolution.
And this applies directly to business, too. We've all seen institutional amnesia, right? A key leader leaves, and years of hard-won knowledge just walks out the door with them. Now, imagine a different system. Imagine converting every project post-mortem into a principle in a living company playbook. Now, every new idea is forced to be checked against the company's accumulated wisdom. The organization actually gets smarter with every single failure.
What about creativity? The default mode is just staring at a blank page, hoping for a random lightning strike of inspiration. The alternative is to build an idea collider. You use this system to force connections between totally different notes. A quote from a book, a customer complaint, a new market trend, things your biological brain, with its tiny 3 to 5 item limit, would literally never connect on its own. You're not waiting for inspiration, you are manufacturing serendipity.
So look, this isn't just another productivity hack. This is a call to greatness. It's a call to move from the chaos of information overload to the deep clarity of compounded knowledge. It is a fundamental call to a new way of working and a new way of thinking.
So here's the verdict. This recursive process is really the technological realization of what's called extended cognition. It lets you offload complexity, which finally solves that biological bottleneck. It systematically closes your open loops, silencing the Zeigarnik effect, and maybe most importantly, it lets you build compound knowledge, solving that deep, nagging problem of stagnation.
And when you adopt this system, your entire identity starts to shift. You're no longer just a note-taker, passively filing away bits of data. You become a knowledge architect, actively designing and constructing an engine for insight.
And this is the most crucial distinction of all. You're not just building a library, you are building a brain. A library grows linearly. You add a book, you have one more book. But a brain grows exponentially. Every new connection between ideas makes the entire network smarter.
So I'll leave you with this one question. The tools are here. The methods are clear. The only thing left to ask yourself is, what will you build when you stop just collecting information and start compounding it?